The nurses were wrong. So in the early stages of being in hospital, I actually had dressing changes to all of the scars all over my body, which is like 80% of my body. And I remember that the nurses actually used to rip the bandages off really quickly, ensuring me that this was the most painless way of doing it. And I remember instinctively thinking to myself, no, I really would rather it take longer, but for you to rip it off really slowly. I thought I was crazy, but the nurses told me that this was the way to do it. Years later, I stumbled across a TED talk called Our Buggy Moral Code by a guy called Dan Ariely, who is a behavioral economist at Duke University. Turns out that he had burns to over 70% of his body and had exactly the same experience as I did. He went on to conduct a bunch of studies into this very thing, which is the interaction with the amount of pain or the amplitude and the duration of it. And he actually found out that in both of our cases, the nurses were wrong.
Hospital is a place where you can observe lots and lots of irrational behaviors. How many of you would go for the quick ripping approach? Turns out that if you take a painful experience and you make it twice as long, you don't make it twice as painful. You play with the amplitude, now you dramatically change how people experience it. So the nurses were trying to shrink the duration. In fact, they should have tried to shrink the intensity.
This got me extremely interested in Dan as a person, and I actually went to a bunch of his talks. And so I called him up and I said, Dan, would you like to come on Last Meal? Have a bit of a chat. I'll cook you your last meal and we can talk about our shared experience of scars and how they interact with authenticity. If you'd like to check out that episode of Last Meal, it is live now. Here is the link. It's really funny. Go and check it out. Dan is amazing.